This conference will now be recorded.
So you can see these slides, yes, Sumit?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent, thank you. So good afternoon. My name's Shazia Khan, and the module we'll be doing today is communication skills for business. And we're going to be looking at learning outcome 3, which is to understand the factors that impact on the effectiveness of communication. So I'm just going to give you a summary of what we did in learning outcome 1 and 2 last week. So you've got a little bit of an idea of
Okay.
what it's like a refresher for you. So learning outcome 1, we looked at understanding how internal communication takes place within organizations. We looked at what communication is, models of communication. We looked at written communication, letters, bulletins. We looked at the advantages and disadvantages of communication. We also looked at verbal communication, visual communication. What was visual communication? Do you remember?
Be we can
Visual communication. Is
do
it face to face?
yes.
Okay, so then we looked at also face to face, oral briefings, appraisal. We looked at electronic
Grapevine.
communication. Sorry, what was that, Summit?
Grapevine communication was
Yes,
like
yeah.
all.
Grapevine. We looked at electronic conferences, staff meetings. We looked at also the appropriate use of different internal modes, horizontal and vertical communication, upward and downward. So upward is from staff to senior, downwards is from manager to staff. Barriers to effective communication, also looked at some possible legal and ethical issues in relation to communication. And we looked at the Freedom of Information Act, General Data Protection Regulars, GDPR. Then we looked at learning outcome 2, which was to understand how organizations communicate with customers. So things like formal communication. We looked at the importance of social media. Why do you think social media is so important?
That we can aware people easily.
You can do what, sorry?
The different regards.
Yeah, so you could, sell your brand or advertise your services quite easily. Formal
Yeah.
communication, we looked at internal, external communication, upward and downward communication, formal, lateral communication. We looked at the importance of the um, seven C's of effective communication, and the
Yeah.
effectiveness of using social media with like customers and things. And we looked at the importance of any sort of things to do with corporate image, or the issue of, the fact that we're looking at the use of social media within a customer brand and corporate image. Okay, so that was just an overview, a little bit about what we did in learning outcome 1 and 2, which was last week. So now we're going to carry on and work with learning outcome 3, which is to look at understanding the factors that impact on effective communication. Okay, so 3.1, we're going to look at assess the impact of personal relationships on effective communication. Um, and we're going to look at what is a team. So a team is a unit of 2 or more people. They interact or coordinate their work to accomplish a specific goal. So they have an end result, don't they? And they want to try and get through that end result. So they have a specific goal at the end. Difference between groups and teams. So groups are designated leaders. They individually accountability, the identical purpose for group and organization. They have individual work products. It runs efficient meetings, effectiveness and equals influence on business, and discusses and decides, delegates works to individuals. A team is that it shares, rotates its leaders, accountability to each other, and the specific team vision or purpose, collective work products, encourages open-ended discussions. Effectiveness equals value of collective work. They discuss, they decide, and they share. Okay, so sometimes groups are good for certain situations, and sometimes teams are good for certain situations. Work team
Yeah.
effectiveness model. So organizational context is that it's formal structure, culture, strategy, reward, and systems. The team type, so it needs to be formal, self-directed, informal. The team characteristics, the size and the role is important because it impacts on things. And the team composition, the knowledge and skills, benefits and costs. Then it goes on to team processes, the stages of development, cohesiveness, norms, conflict resolution, and work team effectiveness, productivity output, and personal satisfaction. We have formal teams. Vertical formal teams are composed of a manager and a subordinate, and sometimes called functional or command teams. The horizontal formal team, is composed of employees from the same hierarchy level, but from a different areas of expertise. Then we have special purpose, and these are created outside the formal organization for special programs and disband once project is completed. So they finish once the project is completed. Self-directed team elements. Employers with several skills and functions given access to various resources such as information, equipment, machinery, and suppliers needed to perform the complete task, and it's empowered with decision-making authority and select new members, and it's all to do with the money. Teams in the workplace, in new workplace, sorry. Virtual teams consist of geographical or organizational dispersed members linked by technology. Global teams, cross-border teams made up of members from different nationalities, intercultural and virtual. Why do you think there's so much need to have a good group or a good team?
They will work easily in a group or team shape.
And they share ideas as well, don't they? So they'll share ideas.
Yeah.
They'll share the importance of, teamwork, but they'll also, work as a team and get an end goal at the end of it. Challenges of virtual teams. Select the right team members, manage socialization and foster trust, effectively manage communication. So it's important in every organization that you get the right team member doing all the right work, because it does cause an issue later on then. So you need to have an effective team member. Characteristics of teams. So the size of it is ideally size is thought to be 7. Variations of from 5 to 12 typically are associated with good team performance. Small teams, 2 to 4 members, show more agreement, ask more questions. Large teams, 12 or more members, they tend to have more strong disagreements. Subgroups form, conflicts among them occur. Characteristics of teams. Diversity. They produce more innovative solutions to problems. The source of creativity. They contribute to a healthy level of conflict that leads to decision making. They work team performance, so they racial, national, ethnic, short-term difficulty learning to work together, and leadership helps problems fade over time. Characteristics of teams. Member roles. So task specialist roles spend time and energy helping with the team reach its goal. They initiate ideas, they give opinions, they seek information, they summarize, and then they energize. Emotional role, they support team members, emotional needs, they encourage, harmonize, reduce any sort of tension between the team members, also follow, and they always come up with a compromise at the end of it. Team member roles, so you've got the high ones, the task specialist role focuses on task accomplishment over human needs. Important role, but if adopted by everyone, team social needs won't be met. Then we have a dual role which focuses on tasks and people. So maybe a team leader, important role, but not essential if members adopt task specialists and socio-emotional roles. Non-participatory role contributes little to either task or people needs of team. Not an important role if adopted by too many people, too many members, team will disband. Social emotional role, which is focuses on people's needs of team over task, important role, but if adopted by everyone, teams tasks won't be accomplished. Stages of team development. You've got a joining one here where the task completion, so the leader brings closure, signifies completion, performing, which is cooperation and problem solving, and that will be the leader where they will facilitate the task accomplishment. Then you've got norming, which is establishment of order and cohesion. So the leader here helps clarity, team roles, norms, values, and then storming, conflict, disagreement, and the leader is encouragement and participation, forming, orientation, breaking the ice, and the leader is here to facilitate any sort of social interchanges. Team cohesiveness. High High cohesiveness is attractive feature of the team. Extent to which team members are attracted to the team and motivated to remain in it. Determinants, the team structure and the context. Determinants of team cohesiveness. So the team structure and context influence cohesiveness. Team structure, team interaction. The more time spent together, the more cohesive the team. Shared goals, members agree on goals, they will be more cohesive. Personal attraction to the team, similar attitudes and values, and enjoy being together. Determinants of team cohesiveness. So the team structure and context influence cohesiveness. Team context, so moderate competition with other teams. Cohesiveness increases as it strives to win. Team success and favourable evaluation of the team by outsiders, so it adds to cohesiveness. Consequences of team cohesiveness. So if you have high morale, mixed team performance. So if the morale's higher in any team, increased communication among members, friendly team climate, so people will work together better. The maintenance of membership, and then team performance is mixed. So cohesive team members, productivity tends to be uniform, and non-cohesive teams have wider variation in member productivity. Team norms. Standard of conduct that is shared by team members and guides their behavior. So you've got valuable defined boundaries of acceptable behavior. So in a team, must you have standards that you must abide by? Sumit, what do you think in
Sorry,
a
didn't get.
team? In a team, must you have standards that you abide by? You know, any sort of rules that you must follow in a team?
Yes,
Why
some
must you have
rules.
rules? Is it because it's you're able to work in kind of that, you know, if you don't have rules, you're not able to work effectively, but if you have rules in place, you're able to follow
Yes,
and effectively work.
Without rules, we cannot achieve our goal easily.
Yes, yes, it's true. Totally, I agree with you 100%, Sumit. And in a team, if you don't have any rules or guidance or support, then you're not going to work well, are you?
Yes.
Development of team norms, critical events in team's history, primacy, first behavior, precedence. These are some norms, explicit statements from leaders or members, carry over from other experiences. Conflict. Most team Most important team characteristic is antagonistic interaction, in which one party attempts to thwart the intentions or goals of another. So conflict is inevitable whenever people work together in a team. Among members within a team, or a member between one team and another, and can have a healthy impact, and it energizes people towards higher performance. Okay, what's wrong with this now? No, oops, sorry. It's just not moving on, sorry. Uh, Let me just start sharing again because it's not moving on properly. 1 minute. View. Just 1 minute, Summit. I don't know what's gone on here. Right, okay, so it's just not moving on. Right, let's just share it again then. Can you see this now, Summit? Yeah? Yeah? Summit, can you see this?
No.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes,
Balance
now I'm seeing it.
Balancing
Clear.
conflict and cooperation. So group thing,
Yeah.
tendency for people to be so committed to cohesive team that they are reluctant to express country opinions. Abilene paradox by Jerry Harvey, tendency to go along with others for the sake of avoiding conflict. The low levels of conflict associated with poor decision making in top management teams. Causes of team conflict. So scarce resources include money, information, and supplies. Sometimes you don't have enough money to get something done. You don't have any resources. So that causes conflict. Jurisdictional ambiguities. Conflicts emerge when job boundaries and responsibilities are unclear. Communication breakdown. Poor communication results in misperceptions and misunderstanding of other people and teams. Personality clashes. So personality clashes are caused by basic differences in personality, values, and attitudes. Power and status differences occur when one party has disputable influence over another. Goal differences. Conflict often occurs simply because people are pursuing conflict goals. Models of styles to handle conflict. So you've got assertive, competing, collaborating, compromising, avoiding, and accommodating. Assertiveness, unassertive, uncooperative, cooperative, and then cooperativeness, attempting to satisfy the other party's concern. Balance, conflict, and cooperation. Subordinate goals, so these are goals that cannot be reached by a single party. Bargaining and negotiation, parties engage one another in attempt to systematically reach a solution. Mediation, process of using a third party to settle disputes. Guidelines for helping managers facilitate communication. Focus on substantive issues against interpersonal conflicts. So focus on the facts. Develop multiple alternatives. Maintain a balance of power. Never force a consensus. 3.2. Assess the impact of nonverbal communication and oral communication. So the objectives here is to explain the importance of nonverbal communication in the workplace. Today's agenda is nonverbal communication, PowerPoint plus notes, hidden language of culture, introduce cultural project. Closure is what is an example of variation in nonverbal communication in another culture. What is nonverbal communication? Now, we looked at this before as well, so I'm just going to give you a little bit on this. Nonverbal communication includes sending and receiving messages without using words. Examples include physical appearance, body language, pictures, symbols, and drawings. Why is body language so important in regards to nonverbal communication?
Non-verbal communication,
Like body language, why do
we
you think it's
can
so important?
gain our audience by that
Yeah,
through
you can
eye
attract,
contact like that.
yes, eye contact, yes, smiling or frowning,
Smile, yeah,
these
and
kind
having
of,
a space between
yes, these kind of things will happen on
giving.
non-verbal communication. First impressions. You only have 7 seconds to make a first impression. Studies have shown that non-verbal cues have 4 times the impact on the impression you make over something. What can you do? Your attitude, your posture, your smile, eye contact, good handshake, lean in, body language. Body language. What are the 3 types of tips does Faye give? Posture. What are the shoulders? Where are the shoulders? Gesture. What are you doing with your hands? So you might be rubbing your hands, which doesn't play a big part. Stance. Are you stationary or are you moving? Are you rocking? It plays a big part. Non-verbal communication and workplace exchanges. Body language is important when you speak, but it's equally important as you listen. Active listening is a process of giving the sender feedback that indicates your receipt and understanding of the message. Connect, smile, eye contact, feedback, lean in, nod, take notes, observe speed, pitch, and volume. Your body language shapes who you are. Social psychologist Amy Cuddy shows how power posing can impact chances for success. Consider what you see in the audience. Does your body language at this moment reflect the attitude you would like others to perceive? List one interesting research statistic about first impressions on or body language. How do alphas display their nonverbal communication in the classroom? How is nonverbal communication most commonly expressed by millennials generation? Does this societal shift positively or negatively impact on you face to face? Think about it.
What is alpha?
What is what, sorry? Societal.
Alphas display their non-verbal communication.
Where are we, sorry?
Sorry,
What were you saying? What was that?
what is mean by alphas?
Which one is
It
it?
is
Which one did
third.
you want?
How do alphas display their non-verbal communication in the classroom?
Okay, alpha itself is a person who's it's kind of someone who's an
Okay,
alpha male, someone who's a strong leader.
okay,
So it's like
okay, right.
who's a highly, an alpha is an intelligent person, uh, someone who's a great leader.
Okay, got it.
Think about it. We know that appropriate nonverbal communication is essential in all workplace exchanges. How might a nonverbal message conflict with accompanying verbal message? What can be the results of such mixed messages? Demonstrate understanding of nonverbal communication charades. Global impact. Standards for communication vary among cultures. Cultures refer to the knowledge, habits, beliefs, skills, and morals of a society in a given time period. Culture aspects that affect businesses include language, religion, value, and attitudes and behaviors. Why would language affect a business?
We cannot deal with the different languages persons. That is a barrier.
It's a barrier, but we can try and prevent that barrier and try and educate them and maybe speak have things in different languages as well. It helps.
Yes, we
Global,
can reduce it.
yeah, global impact. So body language. In India, shaking your head from side to side is an affirmative yes gesture. In Japan, removing your shoes before entering a home or place of worship is a sign of respect. In the Middle East, showing the soles of one's shoe is rude. So there's different jurisdictions and different cultures in different countries, and so we must respect that. In which countries are speakers expected to look at and speak directly to the listeners? In which countries should speakers show respect by averting their eyes, speaking in soft tones, and approaching their subject directly? A cultural example is a Canadian will say no, but simply stating no, whereas a Korean who wants to communicate the same message may say that might be very difficult. So maybe, in different countries, the speakers, when they look at you and speak directly to you, is offensive sometimes, but when they have speak with respect to you, then that is where they are speaking softly, like countries like maybe in Pakistan and India, things like that.
Hmm.
Expensive mistakes. When Nike learned that this stylized Air logo resembled Allah in Arabic script, the company apologized and pulled the shoes from the distribution. So it affected the culture. Do you understand? So Nike had to, the logo they'd put on their trainers was an Islamic Arabic scripture of the word Allah. So what they had to
Yeah,
do, they had to apologize to everyone, and they had to remove all the shoes from their distribution. So it's affecting culture, isn't it? If you're putting something like that on a shoe, which is, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it's his, it's the wording of Allah, then you are affecting religion, aren't you? So, you need to be
yeah.
careful when you do this, yeah. And the different countries look at culture differently, and what is important to them may not be important to another culture. So 3.3, assess the impact of technology on oral and written communication. So communicating via technology, you've got traditional communication, which is memos, letters, phone calls, face-to-face communication, and then you've got high tech, which is virtual office telecommuting, emails, cellular phone, fax modem, electronic documents, and voicemail. Communicating via technology. So there's advantages and disadvantages of this. So time efficiency, cost effectiveness, disadvantages, receivers' impressions, frustration, and stress must be used with care to avoid miscommunication. Voicemail. Voicemail tag exchange of several voicemails without successful transmission of a message. Avoid counterproductivity exercise in frustration. Voicemail for incoming calls. So keep your recorded messages updated daily. Practice your greeting before recording it. Include the first and the last names and the date. Include when you will be retrieving your messages, and explain how to live person for urgent calls. Voicemail. When retrieving your voicemail, keep a notepad beside your phone. Write down the essential information you need for calls you want to return, then delete them. Return calls promptly. And you've got voicemail. When leaving a voicemail message, be courteous. Speak clearly and slowly. Keep message short and simple. Establish why you are calling. Give the name and contact number, and let the receiver know when you are available, or set a time when you will call back again. Email. The advantages and disadvantages of email. Advantages are that it's fast. It's an alternative if comfortable with face to face. It's a great equalizer. It can eliminate gender or racial biasness. Disadvantages are that it can take longer than other methods. Careful planning and writing skills required. Guidelines for email. Know your company's email policy. Create an appropriate email address and signature. Use the subject line. Watch your language and avoid forwarding junk mail. Email tips. Do not send when angry or exhausted. Do not substitute for face-to-face meetings. Scan subject lines. Always try to have error-free messages and do not use share rumors, innuendos, or sensitive information, and avoid unprofessional abbreviations. Summary. Age of information has generated rapid advances in communications technology, but technology needs people to make it work. We've got the review 3.4, which is the review the use of conventions in written communication. What is the purpose of writing? So the whole purpose of writing is to communicate an idea, to express emotions, to entertain, to explain, to persuade, which means to convince someone, to describe and to respond to literature and others. Grammar review. The test will not ask you directly about the parts of the speech, but they're important in order to understand. A noun is a person, place, or a thing. So a person could be a thing could be a dog, New York, OFL. A verb can be an action or a word, talk, study, run. An adjective that describes something, so happy, bright, fast. An adverb is a word that modifies a verb. An adjective, another adverb, usually ends in happily, very slowly. Subject is a part of the sentence, usually a noun, that performs the action. So she gave me the book, the dog slept. Predicate, the part of the sentence that is not the subject. So she gave me the book, the dog slept. So subject, predicate completes the answer. Grammar review clauses. A clause is a group of words that has a verb and a subject. Some are complete sentences, but others need to be linked to another clause to make sense. Independent main clause, a complete thought and can stand alone as a sentence or be linked to another clause. Experience. People had to keep a fire going all the time. Dependent subordinate clause does not express a complete idea, so it has to be linked to the independent clause. An example here is before matches made, it is easy to start a fire. Complete sentence using both types of clauses. So before matches made, it is easy to start a fire. People had to keep a fire going at all times. Grammar review pronunciation. Semicolon used between independent clauses without conjunctions. For and nor, but or yet so. Fanboys. Example, fire is our good friend, fire is our deadly enemy. A colon is used between independent clauses when the second clause explains the first or provides a list. An example, fire is important, then the colons go in. It heats our home and our food. Ellipsis is three spaced dots show that something has been omitted, which means left out. So example, the firefighter said it's really dangerous, da 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 da, but we have the blaze under control. Hyphen is used in the compound adjectives, numbers, and prefixes. Uh, an example is the well organized squad of 24 firefighters are pro American. Grammar review, sentence construction and uses. Parallel structure, subordination, proper placement of modifiers, consistency of tenses. Talk to the text in your measure up book and discuss with the other class. Grammar review, proofreading. Usage, structure, diction, grammar, mechanics. Why do you think it's so important to have, a good structure in grammar?
If there is not a structure, so how not get a sentence?
Yeah, and you will not understand, will you, what the person's saying? So if you don't have
Yeah,
a good structure, you're not going to understand what the person is trying to say to you. So you need a good structure in
that,
place.
and will not be a clear idea.
Yeah, it needs to be clear. Response to literature. You read a literature text and are asked to respond and write an essay based on the question regarding that passage. This type of question asks you first comprehend the text, then write about it. Use that, and chunking. Expository essay. Expository essays, also called compositions, are people, often non-fiction, meaning that it deals with real people, things and events and places. The question may ask you to write about an important moment in history or technology, or a question about the topic. Persuasive essays. Persuasive essay is or composition asks you to defend a position or argue for your side of an issue about which people disagree. A sample question may ask you to write an essay for your school paper in which you convince the readers of the importance of volunteer hours as a graduation requirement, or a convincing essay about whether or not there should be art and music in a school. The readers want you to think about the other side of the argument and keep that in mind as you defend your ideas. Business letter. A business letter is a formal correspondence about a business-related matter. When you're writing a business letter, your purpose may be to apply for a job, to complain, to request information, and etc. Business letters, they are in the references on page 28 for an example of a format. Besides the way it looks, treat the business letter pretty much the same you would treat an essay. It should have a salutation, an introduction, a body, a conclusion, and a signature. 3M1. Evaluate the effectiveness of a range of communications, verbal and non-verbal, in contributing to the success of a specified organization. Here you have to take an organization, then explain the range of verbal and non-verbal communication methods, and you use one or two methods to explain how the organization uses them for their business structure. So, you could look at body language, you could look at things like emails, you could look at face-to-face communication. Some of the references are all here that we have used in today's session. So the references you can refer to, there are some references: analysis of social networking, a study of effective communication strategy in developing brand communication, Journal of Media and Communication Studies. Then you've got another book by Kim St. Weaver D, about communication research, about the internet, a thematic meta-analysis, news and media, Narula communication models, and Stern, a revised communication model for advertising. Also another one by Van Ruler, which we referred to earlier on, called the Communication Grid, an introduction of model of 4 communication strategies. And the Varna one, the Theoretical Foundation for Intercultural Business, a conceptual model, a journal of business communication. Now, these are the resources you can use to complete, the learning outcome 3. You can look at these in regards to, when you're doing your assignment, which we'll go through in the next couple of weeks, so you've got an idea of what you're doing. But we have now completed learning outcome 3. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be doing learning outcome 4. Have you got any questions before we finish today?
No, ma'am.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What we'll do is try and read up some of the resources on Moodle. Any sort of additional information will be on Moodle for you to read up, any articles or any sort of additional notes that you could read up around communication as well. And then we've got learning outcome 4 tomorrow, and then I think we've got next week, we've got the learning outcome 5, and then the assignment session on Saturday. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Is that okay?
Okay, right.
Okay, I will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Have a good day.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.
Communication skills. Who's this? Hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah, I think someone else is. Is someone else on? Hello, is somebody else on? CS. Hello? Okay. I just thought there was. I thought there was someone else.